Well, everyone, as you guys know, Android R just came out in a beta, and I finally was able to install it on my Android device, which I'm so happy about. I install Windows on my Mac and then go from there. And I did kind of want to do a little bit of a speed comparison and talk about the differences of what the differences are. It's a long-winded intro against the Pixel 2 and the iOS 13 devices. Now, this is the Pixel 2, so it's not the latest device. So for me to, do a speed comparison against this and like an iPhone 11 Pro would not necessarily be fair because the 11 Pro is the faster device. But I did find a device that, came out the same time as this the same year and was pretty much one of its biggest competitors, which is the iPhone 8. And I do have one running iOS 13. And so both of these phones were pretty much competitors at the same time. They both came out in 2017, basically within like a month of each other. And I just kind of want to see what the main differences are. And obviously there's a ton of differences between iOS and Android, but I really want to hit on the speed differences. And even though iOS 13 we're pretty far into it, I'll do the same thing with iOS 14 when that comes out in a public beta. Now, one thing I want to get out of the way is that what both iOS 13 and Android R have both in common would definitely be the small iterations in the UI changes. So if you look at the UI, it's really pretty much the same. Android R is pretty much the exact same thing as, Android 10 in terms of the way it looks. Now, things could change eventually. I'm not saying it's, 100% the case now and it's going to be like this forever, but visibly, it hasn't really changed even much since like Android Lollipop. It really has. I mean, Android Nougat was a pretty big change. But I think, they really need to go focus down and just change the way it looks. It's been way too long. They removed the app drawer button. I mean, you can swipe up to get to it, but I'm really hoping Google can really start making huge strides and huge changes in terms of the UI. And if you look at iOS 13, it has the exact same problem. Everything looks exactly the same, even from like day one of iOS, to be honest. Obviously, they changed a lot of things here and there, but I think they really do need to focus down and change a lot of things. I mean, and it's not just Android, I'm saying the same thing about iOS. They both, they haven't changed too much in the first place, really now since a little while, so I'm really hoping they can change a couple of things here and there. So that's a little bit of a background. Let's go and do a little bit of a speed comparison. And it's not going to be too crazy. I just kind of want to see what the differences are in terms of the speed between both of them. So let's see this one. Okay, now that we're here, let's go and swipe out of all these apps. Okay, that one's the only one there. Now that we have all of them cleared out, let's go and start running through this thing. Let's go and do their designated app stores. 3, 2, 1. And you can see Android R was actually pretty fast there. I was not expecting that. But you can see the smoothness. I mean, just look how much smoother the iPhone 8 on iOS 13 is over the Pixel on Android R. Now again, this is more so to see, what the differences are in terms of speed. The shakiness and everything is going to be a little different because this is the first beta. So I'm not saying this is perfect. But again, I really haven't seen too many changes to begin with. Let's do the camera. 3, 2, 1. Not really too sure which one was faster. They look almost the same. Phone call. 3, 2, 1. iPhone 8 I think was just a split second faster. Messages 3, 2, 1. Okay, yeah, it was about the same. Now I have all these third-party apps that we're going to go through, and it's going to be a very fun time. Let's do Facebook 3, 2, 1. iPhone 8 much faster than the Android R device. Took a while, but we eventually got into it. Twitter 3, 2, 1. Actually, Android R got into that one faster. That was surprising. I was not expecting that. Quizlet 3, 2, 1. And Android R was actually faster there too. Okay, that was pretty surprising. Let's do Snapchat 3, 2, 1. And you can see Android R again was a little bit faster. So far, I've seen kind of like a split way that it's like 50-50 in terms of speed, but I think I'm leaning towards more for the Android R device right now. Let's do Instagram 3, 2, 1. And iPhone 8, as soon as I said that, of course it changes. The iPhone 8 was a little bit faster. Let's do Pew Pew. I don't know if I have that on here. Okay, I don't. Let's do Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. And actually, one thing that I just noticed that the smoothness factor when getting into the app actually was a little bit smoother on Android R. On Android 10 and a lot of different Android versions, it was super, super choppy. And as you can see, we're going to have to download it, which I've already downloaded a billion times, so we'll just wait until that's done. But I just noticed that that little animation seems a little bit smoother on Android R, which is really, really good. That's one of the biggest complaints I had about it before. Let's do Fruit Ninja. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 8 was faster. The Google Pixel 2 is taking its time. And eventually it loads into the Google Pixel 2. That took a very long time on it. And then we get through, so I'm not really sure what the problem was. That took forever on the Pixel 2. Let's do Netflix. 3, 2, 1. And Pixel 2 was definitely faster than the iPhone 8 for sure. To BOFA, 3, 2, 1. And Google Pixel 2 Android R faster. And iPhone 8 taking its time, okay? And eventually we get into it there. Let's do stack, 3, 2, 1. And to get into that ad, I think it was a little bit faster on the Android R device. Eventually iOS 13, it took its time a little bit, not that big of a deal. And I guess we have Temple Run 2 on here somewhere. Let's do Temple Run 2. 3, 2. And iOS 13 seems to be a little bit faster. And Android R actually might end up at the same time, I don't really know. And technically the iPhone 8 was definitely faster. It wasn't even technically, it is. Well, it was faster on the iPhone 8 on iOS 13. Let's get into some gameplay, see if there's a difference at all. I don't really think there is going to be. And yeah, that pretty much summed that one up. There's really not that big of a difference at all. I might be able to do one more app just to kind of get it over with. Let's go ahead and end it off with the original Snapchat. We got to do at least one time. 3, 2, 1. And I actually think Android R might be a little bit faster here. And yep, Pixel 2 was faster on Android R. Okay, I got 500 points. Let's get into some gameplay, see if there's a difference at all. And one thing I've noticed is the screen is so much better on the Pixel 2 than the iPhone 8, but that has nothing to do with the software. And as you can see, yeah, gameplay is about the same on both. So if I could kind of sum up this whole entire comparison, I'll be honest, I think that speed differences between them isn't really, it's not really consistent every time. It's not like the Pixel 2 is faster every single time on Android R, and it's not like the iPhone 8 is faster on iOS 13, every time. It doesn't seem like that. I think both of them are still, in its pretty basic. Like there's really not that much speedness going on with it, not a bunch of performance updates going on either with iOS 13 or Android R. I am curious to see though how iOS 14 happens to go, because iOS 14 is supposed to be, we've been saying this for years, but iOS 14 is supposed to be a pretty big change. Hopefully, maybe we'll see some performance improvements here and there. But if that actually happens to be the case, I'm curious to see how then it will compare against Android R, and especially how it will compare against iOS 13, obviously. Now with these two devices, obviously I tested just the basic speed functions. These aren't like the end-all be-all of comparisons. Once more iterations of Android R come out, I'll definitely do more updated videos and updated ways on how to do it. I will be dropping a tutorial on my second channel on how to install Android R if you have a Pixel 2 or Pixel newer device. You can easily install Android R on those devices, which would be really beneficial if you want to do it. It's not even that hard. It'll take you a couple of seconds to do. But so far, I would not recommend installing Android R on a personal device. I would stay far away from that. Android R is still, like I said, in its infancy. It still has a long way to go. And if you were to pick it up and install it now, you could run into tons of issues. One issue that I've been running into a lot and I cut it out of the video, but Fruit Ninja was, just not opening up for me for some reason, and it ended up crashing my whole entire phone. Luckily, I didn't have to reboot or anything. It only took like 2 seconds, but that kind of scared me because I was like, oh my god, my phone's about to die and break. But that wasn't the case at all. I just kind of started being a little baby and started whining about it. Guys, this is me coming from the future really quickly. I do not condone putting the Android Q Android 11 ROM onto your device if you're using that Pixel as a main device. If you're using it as a main device, I would highly recommend you not to use it as a main software. I would recommend staying on Android 10. I think in this video I kind of alluded to, saying that Android 11 is a very stock software. That is completely not the case. Android 11 is still super buggy. I showcase many instances where it can mess up, where you can have certain issues come up and arise. If I were you, if you're using a Pixel as a main device, I would recommend you not to put Android 11 on it yet, but I would definitely recommend you to wait until it at least comes into public beta. That should be in the next couple months with Google I/O, or wait until the official build on, about that September, November timeframe. So I had to cut in. I didn't want you guys messing up your phones like that, so now the rest of the video can go. However, if you have an iPhone, iOS 13 is publicly available. It's totally stable, and that might be one big advantage going for iOS 13, but that's not the case at all. Really, they're both, have super strong things going for it. iOS 13 might be the stable one now, but that'll definitely be fixed once, Android R comes out officially, and even like the later builds. Last year I did Android Q, and yeah, there were some differences here and there, but for sure Android Q was pretty decent in its infancy. So that really pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any questions or you run into any problems, let me know in the comment section below. hit that like button. That would mean so much. But definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.